everyone and welcome back to Googie's Kitchen, and if you are new here then hello and welcome. My name's Alexis and today I want to show you how to make my delicious chocolate ginger nut biscuits. As I just mentioned, today I want to show you how to make my delicious chocolate ginger nuts. Now this recipe is really easy to do and I have made my ginger nuts for you before, my ginger nut biscuits, and I will link that video in the description box below, and they are really easy as well. And the reason I started making ginger nuts was because my auntie who lives in Switzerland loves a ginger nut biscuit, and my grandmother, when she used to go and visit, always used to take a packet with her, but then my aunt discovered that she had a gluten intolerance, so could no longer eat the ginger nuts from the packet. So I decided to come up with this recipe, and for the flour I used gluten-free oats instead of flour, but then I discovered that my aunt also had an oat allergy as well. So unfortunately she still can't eat these, but I have made these with chickpea flour before and she did really like them. So you can make them with alternative flours if you want to. I just really enjoy using oat flour, that's all. So yeah, I just carried on making them because my husband actually really loves ginger and he loves anything ginger. So I decided to add some chocolate to them and he really enjoys these ones. So these are a little treat today. We have actually run out of biscuits in our biscuit barrel that I like to keep in the kitchen, so this is a great chance for me to share with you how to make this recipe today. So here is how to make my chocolate ginger nut biscuits. So the first thing I'm going to do is add all of my dry ingredients to a large mixing bowl. So in this bowl here I have 200 grams of ground oats. I ground these in my NutriBullet and made them into like a flour. You can use a blender if you've got a blender as well, that's fine. Yeah, so I just ground them up and made them into like a flour basically. You can use any type of flour you like though, so if you wanted to use gluten-free flour then please do. And then in this bowl I have 100 grams of ground almonds. So it's like almond flour in there. It's a very fine ground almond and I bought those from Costco. Costco seems to do the best ground almonds, I have to say. And then in this bowl I have 100 grams of 100 grams of brown rice flour. And I'm going to put that in. Again, you don't have to use brown rice flour, you could use any type of flour of your choice. So you could add more of the gluten-free flour if you wanted to. And then to make the ginger nuts chocolate, I have 60 grams of raw cacao powder. You can use cocoa powder as well if you want to. I use raw cacao powder because it tends to be more of the raw plant rather than lots of things added to it. And it's not heated either, it's just literally the raw plant. So you're getting more goodness from your food when you use raw products. So yes, I'm just going to mix these round. And then in this bowl I have 3 teaspoons of ground ginger. My husband is an absolute lover of ground ginger, so I put lots in there. I think in the recipe, which I will link in the description box below, I have actually said to use 2 teaspoons, but if your family love ginger then add as much as you want to, honestly. Ground ginger doesn't really, the flavour comes out but it's not too strong if you know what I mean. So add as much or as little as you like really. And then in my final bowl I have 1 teaspoon of baking powder, and this is just to help the biscuits rise basically. So I'm going to mix all of these ingredients together and then I'm going to go and deal with the wet ingredients next. So now I'm moving on to the wet ingredients, and what I've done is I've got a small saucepan and I'm going to put this onto a low heat And then in this bowl, I have 150 grams of vegan butter. I had this in the fridge, so I decided to use it up in these biscuits. But in the actual recipe, I think I've said 150 grams of coconut oil, but either will be fine. This is that Nutella butter. I don't know if you've seen adverts for it on Instagram, but it does taste just like butter. It's really nice, I have to say. And it's made of coconut oil, I think, and almond butter blended together, and it's delicious. So I would highly recommend it. This isn't an advert for them. It's just really delicious. And then in this bowl, I have 150 grams of maple syrup that I'm just going to put in there. And then in my final bowl, and this adds a bit more nuttiness to the ginger nuts, I have 150 grams of cashew nut butter as well. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to blend all of these ingredients together until everything's really nice and smooth and well mixed in. So I'm just going to continue to do that now. So that's everything melted together nicely now, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the heat off, and I'm going to remove this from the heat, and I'm going to pour it into the dry ingredients now. Everything, as I said, is nicely melted together in my pan now. So what I'm going to do is just remove that spoon, and I'm just going to pour on the mixture that I was melting down on the hob. That's lovely. And now I'm going to mix both the wet ingredients and the dry ingredients together until everything moulds and becomes like a big dough ball. That's what you want. I can smell the ginger in this already, and it smells absolutely delicious. So I'm really looking forward to trying one of these later. But yeah, I'm just going to continue to make this into a dough ball now. So as you can see, my mixture has formed a really nice dough ball now, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll it out and make it into the biscuits. So for this, I'm going to use a little bit extra of brown rice flour. Again, if you don't have brown rice flour and you want to use ordinary flour, then you're more than welcome to. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a piece of the dough, which is lovely and doughy, I have to say, and I'm going to just roll it out to about 1/2 centimetre thick, I think. We do like biscuit with a bit of crunch as well, so the slightly thinner they are, the crunchier I find that they are as well. So yeah, so I'm going to try and roll this out as thinly as possible, because as I said, we do like a crunchy biscuit. And then I've got my cutter here, and all I'm going to do is I'm just simply going to cut out a biscuit and put it onto the spare tray that I have here. And I'm just going to continue to do this until I've used up all of the dough in that bowl. So I've finished rolling out all of the dough, and I have these two lovely trays of biscuits now. These are uncooked at the moment, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to put them into the fridge. I know that sounds strange, but as I mentioned earlier, I like a biscuit with a crunch. So when you put these into the fridge, they go a lot colder, and so when you cook them on baking trays, they tend to get a bit crunchier when they're cooked from really cold. So that's why I'm going to put these into the fridge, and I'm also going to preheat the oven to 180 degrees as well while I'm here. So I'm going to put these into the fridge now for a good half an hour, and then I'll come back and show you what I'm going to do next. So the biscuits have been in the fridge for a good half an hour, and they are very cold. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put them onto my baking trays. Now you might see that my baking trays look slightly different, and I have mentioned this in other videos before, so I'm sorry if you've seen this before, but basically these are Pampered Chef stones, and Pampered Chef stones, you don't really need any like greaseproof paper or anything. So what happens with a Pampered Chef stone is it takes out the badness from the food and it just leaves the goodness. So it gives the biscuits, again, another extra crunch. They take out all of the softness, I think, when I cook them on here, and they just leave the goodness. So these are really good for cooking biscuits on. I absolutely love using my Pampered Chef stones for cooking biscuits. So yeah, I actually got these from the company Pampered Chef, but they are no longer in the UK. I think they might still be in America, but I'm sure if you looked online you could probably find something similar. So please do have a look if you are interested. And what I'm doing is I'm just putting these onto the baking tray. So once I put these on, I shall put this back into the oven again. So just going to continue now. So I've put the biscuits onto the baking trays, and by the way, if you don't have Pampered Chef stones, then I would suggest using an ordinary baking tray with a sheet of greaseproof paper on the top. That works just as well as these stones. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this into the oven for about 12 to 15 minutes. So the biscuits have been cooking in the oven for a good 12 minutes now, and they're a lovely golden brown colour, so I'm going to take them out of the oven and leave them to cool. So as you can see, I have removed the biscuits from the baking trays and I've put them onto a cooling rack to cool completely. And once they've cooled completely, I will then put them into a biscuit jar and leave them on the side for people to eat. Yum yum. Looking forward to that. As I mentioned earlier, this recipe is on my blog at googieskitchenlife.com, and I will link it in the description box below. So that's it from me. Thank you so much for watching. Please feel free to give me a big thumbs up if you enjoyed this video, and please feel free to leave any comments below. Do you like chocolate ginger nuts, or have you ever tried them? I'd love to know, and please don't forget to hit that subscribe button. See you all soon. Bye.